Hi, this is Dave from Steel City Drones Flight Academy, along with Michael McVeigh from Florida Drone Supply, and we're here in sunny Florida, and we're here today to give you a really comprehensive, complete review on the entire DJI MAVIC Enterprise and the Enterprise Dual. So we got the Enterprise, the first edition, just the standard edition, back in December, and now we just got the thermal camera version, the Dual. We have what we think is going to be everything that you need to determine if these units are right for you. And, Michael, the very first thing I'm going to say is, it's very, we always keep things very honest and open with everybody. We tell it like it is. We're not going to give you guys a DJI infomercial. There's a lot of great things here that these do. There's some things here that we think that we would have liked to see a little differently. And we're going to give you the pros and cons of both, and that way you can weigh them out. So the very first thing is, let's talk about my original impressions and opinions on the original MAVIC. I was never a fan of it, especially for anything with commercial applications. I didn't like the camera. I didn't like the wind capacity or the capabilities of it. And it just, it was a great, more of a novice kind of a thing. Enterprise versions are really for public safety departments primarily. So Michael, the very first thing that I just want to start out this video with saying, the very first thing that jumps out of me, the most important attribute that I found to be improved over the original MAVIC is the wind performance.
Yeah, it's really good.
By far. We have really tested this out in windy conditions here in Florida, where you see, palm trees are bending. And it held much better, I thought much better than the Phantom 4 Pro. Why don't you tell our viewers some of the accessories, the attachable accessories that also too, by far, those are really outstanding units.
Yeah, I think equally important as the flight performance improvement are the accessories that everybody's really been asking for. To start with, we have three main accessories that you can add to a MAVIC 2 Enterprise. We've got a strobe light, we have a spotlight, and we have an audio speaker. And the strobe light meets the FAA requirements. The spotlight, as we'll put on the screen, is really bright and great for public safety when they're flying in the evenings or civil twilight or at night. And then probably the biggest surprise of how much people like things is this loudspeaker, because it lets you play a recorded message. If you're in public safety and you've got to get a message out to the area that you're flying in, or you need to tell the people that are out there to stand by or that you're coming to help them.
I gotta say, I was really blown away by the spotlight. You'll see right here the footage we're showing you right now on the screen. We actually wanted to light up completely pitch black parking lot. And I was amazed about the output of that. I was really impressed with that. I'll tell you on the loudspeaker, and you can go ahead and talk a little more about our loudspeaker test. But I was a little unimpressed with it, only because I thought it was very easy and very sensitive to start distorting.
If you can hear this message, we have help on the way. Please do not move.
That's true. It's definitely not the best quality sound, but it is loud, and we flew out 100 feet, then 150 feet, and a couple hundred feet, and we could hear it.
Yes.
Right? But the sound did distort. It is a small speaker. The bass in someone's voice is going to make that crackle a little bit, but the message was audible and clear.
Right. One of the other things that I thought that DJI missed on is on the beacon. I thought that they really should have incorporated it into the middle of the aircraft, or potentially just somewhere where we could actually have it almost permanently molded to the body. So that way we could use the detachable accessory, whether it's going to be the spotlight or the loudspeaker. And especially, guys, for those of you who have tried to apply for a night waiver, the FAA has really changed the criteria a little bit, made it a little more stringent on getting that waiver, and they really like you to make sure that you're lighting the subject area at night from the air as well, which really requires this. So that means then you kind of need both of them. So the question is, how do you use both to be FAA legal if you're flying under Part 107? If you're not flying under Part 107 and you got your waiver or your COA, it's not a huge deal. But if you're flying under 107, it is a little more of a deal. And I'm sure you guys are going to come up with something, like you always do, to be able to make this better.
Well, you've really hit the nail on the head, and that's exactly what people ask for. They say, if it's dark and I need the spotlight, don't I also need the strobe light to meet the FAA requirements? So right now, if you're going to use the spotlight and fly at night and you have to have a strobe, we'll have to put a small, not built in, a detachable one that we can just stick on the top of the aircraft.
Now, on the subject of the attachable units, you'll see that in the menu setting, when you're using the loudspeaker and you're using the spotlight, there's a little separate tab under the menu settings that you can go in there, and then you can change the intensity.
Yep.
And you can make it brighter or lesser if you want to. And it's the same thing goes with how loud you want the voice to be able to gain for it. And then do you want to talk about how you can have a pre-recorded voice already in advance, or you can simply on the fly be able to add a voice into it?
Yeah, this was a great feature, and we discovered this once we got to start playing with the speaker. And you can go into the little menu tab for your accessory. When you've got the speaker on there, it will pull up a library of pre-recorded either audio messages or something that you've downloaded off the internet. It could be a siren, it could be something that's recorded back in your station. And you can either play something out of your recorded library, or you can, while the drone's out flying, say, I need to change the message. You can quick record one, you speak right into the crystal sky, save it, it broadcasts it out to the aircraft and plays it immediately.
What we're going to show you guys is a little test that we did with the audio. So what we had is we had our mic just on the camera, and we had the drone about 125 feet away, about 100 feet high, and then you can hear, this is the sound of what it sounds like from the camera's perspective, which is very close to what we're actually hearing that far away.
If you can hear this message, please don't move. We have help on the way.
So now let's talk a little more about some of the other new features that the Enterprise has incorporated into this. And I guess this feature is also into the regular Mavic 2 standard versions as well, which is the Advanced Pilot Avoidance System.
Yeah, there's a lot of new technology in the Mavic Enterprise, and it incorporates DJI's APAS technology, which is the Advanced Pilot Assistant System. And that basically, when the drone's flying and it's 3D scanning its flight path in front of it, it can now decide if it needs to go over an obstacle, if it needs to maneuver around an obstacle. Before, it used to just get to a tree or a building or a car and it would stop. We have 360-degree obstacle avoidance, so we have sensors that look forward, we have sensors that look backwards, we have sensors that look to both the sides, which we should talk about, and then we also have sensors that look both up and down. So they really cover all the way around the drone, except in a couple circumstances. And it's these side sensors that I want to say just a little bit more about. These side sensors only work when you're in a mode like active track or tripod mode.
Michael, I got to say the one feature up here, we're up here in Pittsburgh a lot in the Northeast. For everybody that's in the northern part of the United States, you're going to really love the new heaters that are built into the batteries. So just like the Inspire 2s, the TV50s, the TV55s for the Matrice, now we actually have for the Enterprise, for the Mavic, we have the new heaters built inside them. So this is going to be nice because all you have to do is put it in, plug it in, turn it on, and it's going to automatically start heating them up. Let's talk a little bit about the practicality of this with law enforcement and the public safety. We're going to have a lot of law enforcement agents come and ask us about, they're really these things are just going to jump off the shelves and say, that's the perfect drone for us. So with that said, we want to make sure that we put some caveats to that. By far, this definitely has a place. Really, I think of this more as a supplemental drone, not as your first drone. These things have great portability. There's no doubt about that, and it's great to have in your patrol car. However, I think that this shouldn't be your main drone. You're pretty much still going to want to have a Matrice as your main platform. Why do I say that? Well, a few different reasons. The first thing is it's not weather resistance, or I should say water resistance. This has no level of water resistance to it compared to the Matrice. You can't be deploying this in the rain or snow environment, so it's not going to be sealed. The second thing is, with this aircraft, you cannot put the aircraft in manual mode. Now, the manual mode for this is the ADDI feature, the ADDI mode. The main thing that we teach in our training curriculum is to turn off the automation and fly manually.
Right.
You can't do that on these.
Right.
You're relying on the aircraft to switch it off, but it doesn't always do that. You know, probably through my experience, 1 out of every 30 to 40 flights, you're going to experience a GPS anomaly. You're not even aware of it, and it's going to start drifting. Or, you know, you can get some variances in the aircraft responding kind of weird from magnetic interference. With that said, let's go ahead and talk to our friends with Ross Township Police. We're able to let these guys check out the new Enterprise series, and let's see what they had to say when they tested it. So right now we're at Ross Township Police Department, and Detective Brian Colehep, and some of you and your officers have already gotten a chance to fly this. So what are your thoughts on it so far?
It's great. It's a stable aircraft. It's quick. The fact that it can be deployed so quickly and be stored so compactly is a great thing with this, as well as having the loudspeaker and the lights attachments. It's a great drone for public safety use. Okay,
so you guys already, you know, you're using the Matrice line, you're using the Phantom as well. So how do you think this would fit in your department?
I think the best features of this for adding it to what we already have is the fact that it can be stored so compactly and it can be deployed in a very quick and rapid situation, especially if you're looking to put drones into patrol use.
What are your thoughts on the accessories so far?
The accessories are very beneficial from a public safety standpoint. Having a spotlight that you can use to illuminate an area on the ground, either searching for someone, or maybe you want to direct officers to a certain area where there's a person or item of evidence. Also, the loudspeaker is great because you can communicate. The biggest drawback that I see is only being able to use one of these at a time.
Exactly.
So if you have a nighttime thing where you're looking for someone, you can have the spotlight, but then you can't have the loudspeaker to communicate with them. Being able to put both of those on the drone and use them at the same time would be great, that you could locate and communicate to somebody at the same time.
Great. Well, thank you for your feedback, and thanks for taking a look at it. Okay, so now that you've seen some opinions from some of our law enforcement clients, one feature that also really stands out to me, Michael, is AirSense.
Oh, yeah.
And for those that are not aware of what AirSense is a feature that was first introduced last year when the Matrice 200, 210 came out. Mm-hmm. It, to me, is an absolute fundamental feature that they should have in all drones, and I'm sure that's the way it's leading to go into. So what AirSense does is, if there's any kind of aircraft that's nearby, it's going to alert you that there's like a smaller airplane or a helicopter in the air, and then if you click on the map, it's going to show you exactly the proximity to where it is in relationship to where you are, and it's going to tell you the height and the type of aircraft. It's outstanding. You know, guys, I've been flying for drones for over 10 years now, and my number one fear is helicopters, because helicopters can come out of anywhere at any time with hardly any notice. Michael, why don't we also now talk about cameras?
Sure.
So cameras is another huge component, obviously, because we have the standard Enterprise version, and then we have the dual version. Let's start with the standard version first. Why don't you talk about some of the specs in that camera?
Sure. So the standard MAVIC Enterprise comes with a 12 megapixel camera. It has the ability to go 2 times optical zoom and then digital zoom 6 times beyond that. It lets you fly around and then be able to get a pretty good zoom in on your subject. It's not a 20 megapixel camera, but it's really good for the uses of public safety.
So now, because everybody's going to be jumping on the thermal camera version, right? Let's go down a rabbit hole one step at a time.
Well, this was just a great surprise for us, both in the product, its capability, and really its price point as well.
Yeah.
We've been really hoping for a thermal MAVIC for a long time for public safety, quick to deploy, easiest way to get a thermal camera in the air with a small size, a quick response time, and a lot of flight time. So this was a big game changer for us. It's something we've waited for a long time. It has both the regular camera, it's called an RGB camera, your normal visual camera with a FLIR thermal camera built into that same housing right down there, and it lets you switch between a regular view and a thermal view, and it's just really fantastic.
Okay, now, caveat time here, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about resolution for both RGB and thermal camera, because we don't want people getting carried away thinking that this is a 4K camera, high resolution video camera, and a product that's going to be very comparable to the XT versions, which is the professional line of thermal cameras. So first we'll start with the RGB camera and then go over to the thermal.
Yep, so like Dave said, this is not a cinema camera. This is an industrial RGB camera. This is for inspection. This will get you a look at your scene. This will get you following a suspect. This will get you a good picture of what you're after, but it's not something you're gonna go shoot corporate videos with, Hollywood videos with. So it's really geared for the people that aren't using it in the cinema line. They're using it in the enterprise line, and they're out working with it, doing inspections and public safety. So that would be the normal camera or the RGB camera. And then the thermal camera, thermal cameras are really designed based around the size of their sensor, which we'll call resolution.
Yeah.
And they start from the top of the line coming down, like the XTs and the XT2s, they have 640 by 512, and that's the pixel count sideways and vertical.
Lines of resolution.
Lines of resolution. And we'll call that the full resolution sensor. So we've had the full resolution sensor, 640 by 512, and then a lot of people went into a little bit lesser priced version of the sensor, we'll call it half resolution, 336 by 256. This is neither one of those. This one is 160 by 120. So really your limitation here, Dave, I would say for clarity is height and distance.
Yes.
So as you get further away from your subject and as you get higher in the air, the detail that you can see will diminish. So a person, 50 feet or 100 feet is going to have a great outline, especially as we talk about the MSX technology. It'll have a great outline and look like a person.
Yes.
As you get to 150 feet, 200 feet, you're going to see the person's heat signature, but you won't see the definition of their shape and features.
Let's start out by comparing both Zenmuse XT cameras from 3 different distances. Here's both XT cameras at 65 feet away. Here's both XT cameras at 110 feet away. Here's both cameras at 160 feet away. Now, let's compare the higher resolution XT camera to the MAVIC Enterprise from 3 different distances. Here's both cameras at 65 feet away. Here's both cameras at 110 feet away. Here's both cameras at 160 feet away. The last test will compare the lower resolution XT camera to the MAVIC Enterprise from 3 different distances. Here's both cameras at 65 feet away. Here's both cameras at 110 feet away. Here's both cameras at 160 feet away. So guys, those are the video tests. We wanted to give you as much data as possible so that you can make your own opinions and conclusions on what you want. The 640 version is absolutely going to give you the highest resolution possible, but it comes with a very high price point. The 336, again, is going to be your middle range cameras, and if you feel that the lowest end resolution is going to fit your needs, that's great. We just want to make sure that you understand what the limitations of this aircraft are. Michael, one also improvement, I think, over the regular Mavic 2 as well as flight time. So DJI is claiming about 30 to 31 minute flight times. And just like every piece of aircraft that we've seen, normally when you see the advertised flight times, you probably want to take about 3-4 minutes off those flight times realistically. Yep. So you're probably looking at 26 minutes or so?
Mid-20s, I'd say.
Exactly. Another great feature that we think is just the overall flying capabilities of the aircraft. Why don't you talk about how you think about it when you were flying it?
Yeah, I think this aircraft performs really, really well, and DJI's really matured in their flight controls over the last 10 years or so, and We're seeing it show up in this line of aircraft now. It handles well. It's easy for someone to start to fly and learn. You can get good control of it in a short period of time. You can really learn on an aircraft like this, and you would be able to successfully fly this in most environments, including high wind environments.
So let's talk about the different displays that you can use with the aircraft. There's a lot of different ways that you can go. So let's talk about each option first. Basically, this comes with what is essentially the same remote controller as the original Mavic. And that allows you to be able to use your smartphone and just use that as for your display. You want to talk about the option for the new DJI display that just came out.
Yep, so in addition to using your smartphone, you can use a crystal sky display, either attached to the standard remote controller or built into the new remote controller called the Smart Remote Controller. That is going to be the smaller size crystal sky, so it'll come with a built-in 5.5-inch crystal sky, and it's going to be quick to deploy, fast to turn on, no brackets, no cables. It's kind of an all-in-one remote, which is a little bit different than using either a 5.5 or the 7.85-inch crystal sky with an accessory mounting bracket on the current remote.
Now, my personal favorite option is to use the larger 7.85 large ultra bright crystal display. That's the ultra bright. We actually have been flying with the Evolution 3D bracket that allows you to be able to just attach the unit straight to the back of the controller and really have a nice big display on it. That's my personal favorite.
Yep, I like that too, and it's tough not to like the biggest one. It's tough not to like the brightest one. I do think the new smart controller will have a place too, because of its quick ease of use. You know, like you said, with the large one, it's big, it does get a little heavy, which becomes a comfort and a safety issue for prolonged periods of flight. So we'll see, we'll test them all and, get them in the hands of everybody.
Yep. So that's our review. We wanted to make you guys a really good comprehensive review that was really honest and tell it to you what we thought was very good, and there's a lot of really good stuff inside this, and some of the things that we feel is, some of the drawbacks to it and limitations, like everything else, right? Like every aircraft that we review that has some limitations to them. But we wanted to give you as much information so that you can really draw your own conclusions and see what's best for your organization. If you have any questions about the equipment, you can definitely contact Florida Drone Supply and Michael, and he'll be glad to talk to you about anything that you want to talk about on the equipment side. And if you're interested in getting some training on these platforms, Steel City Drones Flight Academy is definitely your source for that. So, like always, feel free to reach out to either one of us. And until we talk again, thanks again.